North Carolina colleges go nuclear on DEI, fire staff, close offices, and save millions. From the Associated Press, North Carolina's public universities cut 59 positions as part of a massive DEI overhaul this summer. Saved $17 million getting rid of this nonsensical, discriminatory waste of money. Almost 200 diversity, equity, and inclusion staff positions were either cut or reassigned across North Carolina's public university system to comply with a system-wide policy that required institutions to reassess their diversity efforts, according to reports just released. In a first look at how the state's 16 public universities complied with the new diversity policy, which removed mention of diversity jobs across universities and subsequently put them at risk of elimination, the institution's certification reports demonstrate varying approaches on how campuses chose to follow the new rule. Some campuses changed a little of this and a little of that. Other campuses fired a lot of people. The University of North Carolina Board of Governors reviewed the reports this Wednesday, where they evaluated ranging actions that included diversity office closures and program changes. Millions of dollars were also redirected to student success initiatives such as recruitment efforts and scholarships as a result of cuts and realignments. $17 million. $17 million used to support students so they could succeed in their higher education efforts. Why would you want to have offices like this? Why would you want to have discrimination like this? All of this money wasted, public government money paid for by taxes, that could have been going and now is going to help students that qualify for that help. Quote, the reports will be scrutinized far and wide. Some will say that the campuses went too far. Some will say the campuses didn't go far enough, according to the UNC System Legal Counsel Andrew Tripp. It's ultimately the Board of Governors that will judge the campus's compliance. In late May, the UNC Board of Governors revoked and replaced its 2019 diversity policy, which outlined several diversity jobs and the responsibility for coordinating DEI efforts across the system. What replaced it was a policy focused on committing the system to equality of viewpoints, freedom of speech, and institutional neutrality, leaving diversity positions and programs in limbo, actually leaving them in gonebo. Money is not being wasted on those programs anymore in these public institutions. Diversity efforts have become a subject of conservatives' ire on college campuses over the past few years, with the University of Florida and the University of Texas making national headlines for dismantling its diversity offices and cutting its staff. Diversity opponents say the practice can lead to discrimination, while its supporters say it helps level the playing field for women and people of color. There is no leveling the playing field at the expense of breaking federal law. You can't do that. Everyone needs to be treated equally. If someone has a need, that's fine. Instead of wasting money on DEI offices and those salaries, now they have money they can directly give to people who need it, who are entitled to it, who actually do merit getting those resources. North Carolina's public and legislative leaders are among those who have expressed concern with DEI, and at one point were considering legislation restricting those programs before the UNC Board of Governors stepped in. The UNC system in June sent out sweeping guidelines that covered everything from student success initiatives to campus center programming to facilitate the changes to come. To prove compliance with the new policy, schools were required to submit certification reports that described eliminated positions, position reassignments, program changes, and financial savings from cuts. And it's great to have those specific numbers on financial savings when you can point out $17 million saved that could be put towards helping students directly, instead of wasting money on offices. That's a great talking point. That's great publicity for getting rid of DEI. Can you even imagine how many millions and billions of dollars are wasted pushing DEI in the United States? Not even counting the loss of productivity because you're hiring people that aren't qualified. You're hiring people because of their skin color, their sexual preference, or their gender. You're not even allowing people to earn their place in society. Now, over a week later, those newly released reports show universities eliminated 59 positions and reassigned 131 more, according to the certification report statistics summary. UNC-Chapel Hill, the state's flagship university and second most populous public university as of 2023, makes up a third of eliminated positions. The second highest source of eliminations was at UNC Charlotte with 9 cuts, followed by North Carolina State University with 8 positions. On the other hand, NC State led position reassignments, moving 29 people to new positions and departments. UNC-Chapel Hill realigned 27 positions. Other universities, such as East Carolina University and UNC Wilmington, chose to mostly move around positions rather than eliminate them. Universities also redirected a large sum of money, more than $17 million in total across the system so far. Because as these programs continue to be eliminated, there will be more money saved. They will save more money in the next year. And that money is meant to be reallocated towards student success initiatives, even including scholarships. Almost all universities have spent those savings already, while UNC Pembroke and Appalachian State University have yet to spend the money. Worries on how the policy would impact diverse recruitment and retention at universities surfaced during the board meeting, brought to the forefront by Joel Ford, one of the board's few black members. He called on UNC System President Peter Hans to step up to ensure community members know that the system's universities were still welcoming to all students. Hans responded, "That remains our obligation under federal law, state law, and our moral obligation as well. Yeah, we get it, Joel. We're just not going to waste money on these programs that are discriminatory and unproductive anymore." Others, such as board member Woody White, expressed concern on a different front: how quickly and fully the policy was implemented. White voiced his skepticism on whether all universities meaningfully made adjustments to the policy, noting that he didn't see the same level of velocity in the new policy's implementation as when the 2019 policy was approved and they created this DEI nonsense throughout their public-funded higher education system. And from local ABC News, students in UNC-Chapel Hill react to DEI changes. Usually in these kinds of articles, we see a number of students who are entitled and feel like, hey, why can't we just have free money going to resources that help specifically just me? I don't understand. Why? Let's see what they had to say. With a significant decrease in enrollment for the incoming freshman class, especially for black students at UNC-Chapel Hill, it has some wondering how the removal of this policy will impact student populations moving forward. Quote, "Equity takes into context where equality cannot take into context of the historical past that we have. And so to see that being taken away, that was really concerning. And it's still concerning here on campus," according to Crystal Lacchio. Quote, "It was really disappointing to see that. We have to raise our voices to do something about it because this isn't okay," said Bryce Jones. Okay, Bryce, call your rich parents and have them spend $17 million a year on complete nonsense. Then let's see how it goes. But it's better if you do it privately. Just don't insist that taxpayers pay for your little special entitlement benefits. Lacchio and Jones are seniors at UNC-Chapel Hill, are both involved in leadership roles on campus, and hold high academic standards for themselves. However, now they're navigating a new age on campus. The UNC Board of Governors revoked and replaced its 2019 diversity policies, requiring its school to reassess its efforts. In 2023, the freshman class was made up of 10.5% Black or African American students, but in 2024, that percentage dropped to 7.9%. Some say it may be the result of the Supreme Court's removal of affirmative action programs and DEI efforts. However, the school said it's unsure about the connection. Well, the school should not be wasting time and resources trying to figure out why the population of this race or that race goes up or it goes down. Just do what you're supposed to do, provide opportunities for students. Quote, "I would honestly say that it's too soon to tell. We don't know what all the factors involved are. It's only 1 year and it's too soon to call," according to Rochelle Feldman, Vice Provost Enrollment at UNC-Chapel Hill. Crystal and Bryce had top credentials in high school. Crystal's GPA was 4.5 and Bryce's was a 3.9, and both were involved in various activities. They question that with the current changes, if they would have made this year's incoming class. Well, if you shouldn't be there because you don't have the merit to get into the class, then no, you shouldn't be in that class. It would have been better to get into the school based on your merit. Now you'll never know. Now you'll forever have been in this program that perhaps you should not have been in. And when you may or may not succeed in life in the future, you'll have to wonder, should I have gone based on merit or should I have gone based on my skin color into these programs? Quote, I could have been very well in that 3% that didn't get it out, because I can assure you that some of these 3% they're getting left out are just as qualified as I was coming into this university. And because of policy changes, they're being left out. So I could have been that, and I feel for them, and I have a lot of empathy for that, said Jones. Yeah, but if you weren't qualified and they put you in anyway, that means they should put in other people that are not qualified? You'll never know. Perhaps you were qualified. Next time, get into situations where you compete based on merit, and then you'll have all the answers. However, student leaders are still hopeful. Quote, we're not calling for any type of discrimination against anyone, but we're asking for context to be taken into account when it comes to marginalized communities. And that's what equity does. And that's what diversity calls for. And that's what inclusion calls for, said Lacayo. Yeah, Lacayo, the problem here is you are asking for discrimination against other people. You are asking for, because of your skin color or your sexual preference or your race, to be given an opportunity that other people don't get. That is discrimination. Calling it equity doesn't make it not discrimination. The minds of these kids have been poisoned. And also from local ABC News, UNC system looks to keep welcome environment after move away from DEI policies. Everyone's welcome to apply. You just have to get in based on merit. It's not really that hard of a concept. Everyone kind of always understood this before they started pushing these ridiculous diversity programs. Before we started lying to people and telling some people, you're qualified based on your skin color because of equity, not because of merit. It's okay. Don't worry about it. No, you do have to worry about it, because even if you get into a college program where you really don't belong based on merit, it doesn't mean you're going to make it in society. And the right education for the right student makes a big difference in their entire future lives. As UNC system campuses rethink their diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts under a new neutrality policy, UNC-Chapel Hill Vice Provost Leah Cox reassured her university on Thursday that they're committed to supporting all of their students. But we want to make sure that they're feeling welcome, that they're feeling heard, and that they're feeling a sense of belonging, Cox said. The new policy, which aims to keep institutions from taking political stances, has forced existing programs to comply, including the elimination and reassignment of several dozen jobs, 59 to be exact, across the system's universities. Well, many of the programs and systems that were there before still exist, Cox said. So many of those programs have just been moved to other reporting structures. There's no longer a central DEI or DNI office, but some of the programs are still standing. UNC Systems President Peter Hans reaffirmed his commitment to student success. The issue here is not that the programs are available. The issue here is the removal of the entitlement victim mentality. No, you're not a victim. You are not entitled. You need to earn what you get. That's the right mentality, even if people do give you an extra chance or two. You can't actually go into society and ask society to forever consider that you are some kind of victim, because you're not a victim. But even if you were a victim, you're disempowered. You can't accept disempowerment for the rest of your entire professional and personal life, because what are you going to do? Just hope to get handouts forever and never actually accomplish anything? The diversity system is dehumanizing to the people that partake in it, whether they are receiving a benefit from it, supposedly, or they're being discriminated against because of it. It takes dignity, effort, and merit out of the equation. UNC Systems President Peter Hans had this to say, quote, our focus here from the beginning has been to get back to basics, which is our students' success. And by reinvesting that $17 million in support for all students, regardless of background or belief, is the outcome I believe the board hoped to achieve. While system leaders have said the reports will be scrutinized far and wide, Manuel Lloyd said he felt the changes at UNC Wilmington were extreme. UNC-CW eliminated 3 positions and realigned 13, but its report details how job responsibilities have changed for every director of the university's identity-based campus centers, such as the Upman Center, which served as a cultural hub for African American students and was also where Lloyd worked. This is actually accurate. I'll go along with this guy. Yes, there were some programs and there were some centers that are getting damaged by this because the woke left decided they wanted to use these centers as a launching pad to attack society. Because they took over these centers and used them to try to hurt other people, to push their equity agenda. Some of these centers that existed for a long time before this recent movement have now been shut down. And that's the price of participating in this dehumanizing agenda. But while they technically still exist, it would take away from the ability to give high-quality support to the university as a whole, Lloyd said, particularly those students that they were specifically supporting. Despite UNC leaders' pledge to commit to student success for students from all backgrounds and beliefs, Lloyd said he's concerned about the new policy's potential long-term effects. Quote, some of these programs just got shifted to different areas, so if the programming didn't need to change, then why did they need to get rid of those positions out of the centers? I think diversity, equity, and inclusion is incredibly important. And if we're not going to do it just because of controversy of the day, then I think that the entire higher education system is at stake because the job is to educate about, what is going on in the world. So how do we not deal with the issues of the day? Well, they are dealing with the issues of the day. You can't just wipe away the Constitution. You can't just wipe away federal civil rights laws, seize taxpayers' money, and use it to push an agenda. You can't do that, even if you feel like it would be nice to discriminate against people you don't like, say based on their race or their skin color or their sexual preference. You can't do it because it's against people's human rights. And no, we're not going to give up our human rights so that you can push your agenda. I applaud North Carolina. North Carolina is doing the right thing. We need more states like North Carolina. We do have some. There will be more. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.